Trapped by the belief that I'm not good enough, bound by the limitations and the lies that consumed my world, this was me. It wasn't until I took the biggest leap in my life to know and trust the power within. And it was at that moment I made a choice. My past will not define me anymore. Hello, I am Teri, and I know I am not alone in this. Over the years, I have found that the number one mistake that we make is that we get in the way of our own success story. Yes, I said it. On this show, together we'll tackle limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, getting stuck, fear, doubt, overwhelm, and the imposter syndrome. Join us on this journey designed to transport you beyond your limitations to a world where anything is possible. This is Talking with Teri. Welcome back to Talking with Teri, where we have powerful conversations to transform your life and your business. And I am excited about this guest because we just started off in kind of a silly foot. So let's just keep rolling with this. Staci Danford is an educational neuroscientist. I feel like I need some glasses. Where's my glasses? She's a happiness expert, a professional speaker, and she's the owner and operator of the Grateful Brain. She's been voted Fort Worth Magazine's top 10 teachers and the Voyage Dallas Magazine's most inspiring people. So folks, I mean, we're in for a little treat here. Staci, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Okay, so for those that are watching on the YouTube, and if for those listening, you should go check out the YouTube because I'm not going to say what she's wearing, but it's pretty magical. Okay, I'm just saying it's pretty magical. And we connected because we both, I hope it's okay to like bust out your secret when I bust out my secret at the same time. We both shop in the kids section of stores. Yeah, it's true. I'm just telling you, there's more color and more vibrancy there. Boom, boom. Yeah. So go check out the video. Okay. So Staci, welcome. So bring us up to speed to how you got to be where you're at today.
Oh my gosh. It's the world's craziest story. I was a teacher for 25 years and the worst student I ever had in my whole entire life. I was teaching high school AP humanities at the time. Terrible kid, 16 years old, mad at the world, slammed the door, hated everybody and everything. And it was the first student I ever had that I just could not reach. And so I came home and I asked my daughter, who was a senior at the time, and I said, what in the world am I going to do with this kid? And she said, Mom, what do you know about him? And I said, well, I know he's terrible. And she said, exactly, you know nothing. And she said, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I was like, what? And she said, you need to make sure he knows you care. So I didn't want to, I can tell you for sure, because he was terrible. And so the very next day I thought, I'm going to tell him one nice thing about himself every single day. And the very next day he was the worst he had ever been. And it was like the universe going, let's see if you're going to do this. And all I could think of was, I told him, I said, Andrew, I love the way you part your hair.
You got to start somewhere, girl.
Yeah, and the 16-year-old kid looked at me like, what is wrong with you? But I kept on. Every day, I would say one thing about him. Nothing for 3 weeks, nothing. Then finally he would smile. Finally, he would like not be quite so terrible. 6 weeks in, he walked in the door and he said, hey, Miss D, what's up? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's working. Well, then it took 3 months before he was actually nice. And then he became the very best student I ever had. And it was incredible. He ended up getting kicked out of our school. He left. He had trouble with every other teacher except me. Well, several years later, he called and asked if I wanted to go have coffee, that he wanted to tell me some stuff. And he had gotten accepted to college and he'd gone through a really, up and down, terrible addictions, all kind of things. And I asked him, I said, Andrew, why did you treat me so different? You would have had such a different experience if you would have treated everybody like that. And he said, Miss Danford, you smiled at me every time you saw me and you made me feel like you were grateful I was alive. And I was like, oh my God. And I thought it was going to be this art project we did, or I helped him find his inner self. It was smiling and gratitude. And I had never really heard about those words like that before. So I came home and I started Googling and searching, like, how does gratitude change your life? Turns out there's a whole science in it.
Yeah.
And he's the reason I went back to school to become a neuroscientist. And my whole graduate research study was about gratitude and how it changes your life.
Wow, so powerful. As you were speaking, at least 3 times, I got full body chills. Okay. So I'm telling you, there's such power, and it's so easy, right? Like, it's so easy if we just put the effort in and be intentional about it, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was sharing a story a few months ago. I was at this, I used to work at this agency decades ago, probably, I don't know, 25 years ago. And there was this lady. I was a therapist, and there was a lady who was in charge of all the clients. What do you call it? Their people that the clients that had payments that they would receive through SSI or SSDI. She was the payroll or pay person that they would have to go through. So it wasn't always an easy process. And somehow along her path, she thought that this money was actually hers, okay, not the client's. So if the client wanted a couch and she didn't think the client needed a couch, or, she would say no. And I was like, but it's their money. Like, they're entitled to their money. Like, you can't be like, and she was this evil, awful being. Okay. And she was awful. Okay. And she was just not pleasant to work with. And I was like, one day I was like, I've got to figure this out. And I did a similar thing where I was like, I'm just going to kill her with kindness. And we had these, like, at the company that I worked with, we had these, like, little certificates. They're called way to goes. And I would just make up something like, way to go. Like, you helped me out. And I kept sending her these way to goes, and eventually, after you collect so many, you get a gift card. And she became my favorite little person. And then nobody else, she was still beastly mean to everybody else. And so they would come to me and say, hey, Teri, I need to get something for my client. If you ask for this person, she doesn't know who they're assigned to, you'll get it. And so then I had people, like, coming to me and, like, working like the magic, but I'm telling you, it's so transformative. And I'm dying to hear kind of, in-depth research, what you found. Can you share with us, like, what was discovered in that?
It's so phenomenal because, Andrew was the first person that I ever heard talk about that. And I'd heard the word gratitude, but I pretty much thought it was saying thank you and it was just good manners and all that. Well, that's turns out what most people think. Well, in my own research study, I found that 88% of the people think they're grateful. But in reality, only 4% are scientifically grateful. And there is a massive difference, which is why people are not getting the benefits of gratitude correctly. And people that just make a list, or they, have to do their list of 50 things every night before they go to bed. Research shows now that actually backfires. And after the initial, oh my gosh, I've got so much to be grateful for, when you sit down at night and you're like, oh, I got to write 10 things I'm grateful for, it's actually doing the reverse effect in your brain. And what data shows is it's better to be grateful for one thing in as much detail as possible than it is to make a list of 20 things every day. And so that was such a big eye opener for me, because when we go into detail, that's when we get the feeling of gratitude. And the feeling is what changes your brain, because that activates the chemicals, and those chemicals are what you're wanting. No feeling, no benefit.
I was going to say, before you were talking, I was like, gosh, it's the feeling. It's the feeling, because you have to tap into that feeling to be in alignment with that feeling. Because otherwise you're tapping into the dread of it, like, oh gosh, Staci told me how to write my 10, gratitude things. Here, Staci, fine, but it's coming from an angry place versus that place of really tapping into. Now I'm curious. Okay. So when I encourage people to do gratitude, I actually have them do it at the end of the night, because the brain processes more times during the night. Right. But I'm always telling people, like, we should sprinkle it in, right? And sprinkling it in throughout our day. And so, like,
observing, yesterday I was having tea with a friend and observing, just like I was like in this moment of just like observing I think I zoned out for a moment of just like, gosh, I'm so grateful that we have, this and this and this, like, so what did the research come back and say about that piece too? Like one time a day or multiple times a
Well, the
day?
more you do it, the more your brain will start finding it. And it
Yeah.
works in the reticular activating system, which is also part of what I study. But it really, the more you look for it, the more you find, and the more
Yes.
you find, the more you see.
Yes.
But I tell people that if you're going to just start a gratitude practice, do the gratitude sandwich, start your day with it and end your day with it. And what they now know is that when your brain is waking up in the morning, and you're kind of in that foggy zone between sleep and awake, when you're in the theta waves, that just, I got to get up, but I'm not actually up yet. That's when your brain is in the sweet spot or the fertile zone. And so before your eyes open, that's important, because once your eyes open, you activate all the visual receptors in your brain. So while you're laying there, if you'll just think of things you're grateful for in the morning until you really get the feeling of it, they show the chemicals can last up to 6 hours in your brain throughout your day.
Wow.
So I start every morning and I just, with my eyes closed, and I think about all the things. I always say I'm grateful for eyes that see, for ears that hear, and for legs that take me anywhere I want to go. I'm grateful for a bed whose covers feel like vanilla pudding, and a little dog at the end of my bed who's happy to see me. And I just feel those feelings because, most people aren't grateful for their eyes until we think about someone who doesn't have any and that can't see.
Mm-hmm.
And, same thing with your ears, our legs that we get so concerned to have cellulite or what. Somebody with no legs would kill to have yours. And it's just switching it.
Yeah. Yesterday, I've been now 6 weeks with like some sort of a sinus / allergy. I'm pretty certain it's dust, but we're not really quite certain until I get back into my allergist. But I am so grateful for taste and smell, right? Because I don't have those right now. I'm like, I just remember when I could eat and I could taste it.
Taste it, yes.
Oh, I'm just telling you, but it's so powerful. So what I find so juicy about what you just said there is like the vanilla pudding blankets.
Head covers.
Who has vanilla pudding blankets? I'm just saying. My blankets do not feel like vanilla pudding. I will promise you that. Mine's more like I don't know, sparkly feathers or something. I don't know. So let me ask you this. What has been, okay, this is also yummy. So what are some other tools that people can use to incorporate into gratitude? Now, did you just study gratitude, or was there other aspects around the neuroscience around getting our brain back on track? Because I just love this stuff.
Well, gratitude was my focus, but really what I was looking for were the chemicals, because the chemicals created by gratitude are what are really making people happy. And so I always tell everybody, everything's about the chemicals. When you feel crummy, you got crummy chemicals. When you feel good, you've got good chemicals. But every emotion is creating a chemical, and emotions alter brain function. And my whole TED talk was entitled 30 Seconds a Day Can Change Your Life. And 30 seconds of purposeful chemical activation is what changes people. And our brains are lazy. They don't want to do new stuff. They really want to be on autopilot. The problem is auto gets you what you've always had. And if you want a different life, you've got to get some different brain patterns. And that requires intention. So every day I purposely shift over to an intentional brain rather than an autopilot brain. But I'll give you like 3 of my very favorite things to activate those chemicals, and it can happen in 30 seconds. So number 1, I think everybody out there needs to use music, because music is one of the activators. You can get chemical, you can get dopamine 30 seconds. The problem is we usually listen to music we like, and that's not always what works. It has to be music that makes you want to bounce, because that's giving you a level of vibration and frequency that is making, when you feel that feeling, that you've released that chemical. because I love Air Supply and I can sing every single song, child of the 80s. And the problem is when I hear it, it reminds me that when my boyfriend broke up with me in high school, and I'm like, I'm all out of love. I'm so yeah, I'm so lost without you. Yeah, I can sing it all. That's not what you want. Yeah. Same way with like aggressive music, you know, maybe you like rap, maybe you like whatever. That's fine to like it, but don't use that to activate your chemicals, because the chemicals are what are creating this happiness. So I have a list on my phone. I saved it. It's called my happy list. And I have 10 songs on there, save them on my thing, that make me happy every time. And my family all knows Mom's got her pissy music playing. They're like, ooh, Mom was in a bad mood. And I'm like, just give me 10 songs. I'll be back in business. Yeah. And it shifts my music.
That's powerful. That's that's fantastic.
So the second thing is laughter. People underestimate the power of laughter. There's entire studies about what it does. It drops your cortisol levels by 39%. Laughing. Nobody wants a giant chunk of cortisol.
Yeah.
So, and it raises your endorphins by about 70%. So when we laugh, we secrete endorphins, and endorphins make you happy. If you've ever watched Legally Blonde, you know, they talk about that, but they also block pain. And so that's what we want. So I also have a list on my phone, the giggle list, and I just saved 10 videos from YouTube or TikTok, wherever you want to get them is totally fine, but they make me laugh. It can be funny cat videos. It can be grandma doing the, you know, dance, whatever it is. If you laugh, you are getting the benefit. Two easy things.
Yeah. And even with that, like, even like, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing when I experienced it the first time, maybe like, I don't know, it's maybe like 10 years ago, that we did a laughter yoga class. And it's absolutely insane. Like, have you ever experienced this? And they just start laughing. So you just go, and then eventually you like start real laughing, and they'll come and say, look, let's do a Santa laugh, and let's do a little tiny laugh, and let's do a giggle laugh. And they had all these like laughs. I mean, there was probably 50 different types. And when you'd walk around, and it was hysterical for me, because I started going into it because I was like, okay, we're doing this. Let's just embrace it fully, right? Let's play full out. But then there was other people that were like, so like offended by it, and they were hysterical to watch. So I didn't become laughing really kind of at them. Don't like tell anyone else. Don't tell the instructor. But oh my goodness, like, it is just, you're absolutely right. So when you even just, if you have no videos or anything else, if you just start laughing, it starts to activate it, and it's so powerful. So I love it. So it's silly, it's fun. Yeah,
it works. And I think that's why TikTok became so popular during all the pandemic, because 15 seconds, most of the videos are 15 seconds, but this was a place where we could laugh when we felt crummy. Yeah. And it works. It's easy and it works. Okay. So the third thing, which people don't like to do, but if you move your body, you move your mind. And it doesn't have to be CrossFit. You don't have to be super fit and muscly and do all the things. All you got to do is move. Get up and move your body. Walk to the mailbox, do whatever. I personally hula hoop. I hula hoop every single day.
Of course you do.
Yes, it's so good for your brain, because it's activating right hemisphere, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, left. Yeah. So it's the movement of it that's also activating, because it has to stay balanced. It's one of the best brain exercises there are. I got my hula hoop on Amazon. It's weighted and it has little rivets in it. It's so fun. I have my hula hoop playlist and I just get after it. You don't even have to have like fancy workout clothes. You can just,
that's right. Let's hula hoop it. Yeah. And do you do all the fancy moves? Because I remember in high school or elementary school, we used to do this. I mean, we still have like 4 hula hoops in our family. I'm just saying,
so good.
Like my daughter is like, what is this? But I like to like jump with it and like put it around your neck and your arm and your, you know, I'm just saying, let's get hooping. Okay. I think there's actually a song it's like, let's get hooping or something like that. Like, go check it out, because it's fun. And it's like, it could be your new hooping, theme song. I think it's like hooping it or hoop it out or something. Yeah. One of my old clients came in and was like, this is not going on. And it's very catchy. I'm just saying. So it might be your theme song now.
There you go.
Pooping it. I love it. Okay, everyone. These are like fabulous strategies. I love how it ties in the brain. I love how it ties in the chemistry of the brain, but it also ties into, just uplifting our vibrations and our emotions. And so it's like a win, 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 double win, triple threat win, right? So, okay, Staci, where can people find out more about you?
My website is called thegratefulbrain.com. And I think a grateful brain is a happy brain. And my Instagram is at Staci Danford. And I put brain tips on there every single day because our brain power is our superpower, but only if you know how to use it.
That's right. I love it. So juicy. I love it. Absolutely love it. So thank you for being inspired for that one kid and making a difference. Not only did you make a difference in that one kid, but I am certain that in your teaching career, that had a ripple effect, and it continues to have a ripple effect today. So thank you so much for being the light in the world and shining bright.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so grateful that you joined me for this episode. If you've enjoyed this, then there's just one thing that I would like you to do. Click to subscribe and leave me a rating and review. As my way to thank you, let's connect for a free consultation. Just reach out to me at talkingwithteri, that's TERI.com, to book your time.